On the news, aviation union ends strike as firms recall disengaged workers. House of Representatives summon Finance Minister rejects budget from Auditor General's office. And CBN Governor declares e-Naira a monumental success with 8 billion Naira transactions recorded in a year. Glad to have you join us on News Now. I am Mary Kanu. After hours of protests at the entrance gate of the Murtala Mohammed Airport 2 terminal in Lagos State, aviation workers have terminated their strike and vacated the gates for resumption of flight operations. The aviation workers, under the aegis of the Air Transport Services Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, had on Tuesday morning blocked the MMA2 terminal gates, disrupting air operations as airlines suspended flights. The union protested the unprovoked termination of the appointment of 34 aviation workers by the operators of the airport terminal, the B. Courtney Aviation Services Limited. The union had described the sack as witch hunting and willful intimidation. However, in a statement on Wednesday, Francis Akinjole, Deputy General Secretary of the union, said the union had ended the strike following the intervention of concerned ministries and agencies after a meeting attended by the Ministry of Labour and Employment, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, Nigeria Airspace Management Agency, and airport security agencies. The House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts has summoned the Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed, the Director General Budget Office of the Federation Ben Akabueze, and the Acting Accountant General of the Federation Okolia Bo Silva to explain why the Office of the Auditor General for the Federation is undermined in the preparation of the budget for his office. The chairman of the committee, Oluwole Oke, made the comment while rejecting the 2023 budget proposal of the Auditor General's office. The committee was furious that only 62 million naira has been budgeted for the AUGF's office as against 2.5 billion naira initially proposed. Lawmakers questioned how the Auditor General Adolphus Agogo can effectively audit government agencies with such a budget. And the Federal Executive Council, FEC, has approved the variation in the sum of contract for East-West Road Project Sections 1 to 4 from Warri to Port Harcourt, Eket, Oron by 260 billion naira, bringing the total amount required for it to 506 billion naira. The original cost for the sections was about 246 billion naira. The variation was part of the decisions reached by the Council, presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, on Wednesday. According to the spokesman of the Vice President, Laolu Akonde, who briefed correspondents on the issue, the variation followed a memorandum presented to the Council by the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, as part of efforts to provide circle and resolve issues around the recent floods.
First, it presented a memo that shows the federal government's continued engagement in bringing succor and resolving issues around the recent flooding. We got approval for the variation order in respect of the repair works on the East-West Road project affected during the recent flooding occurrences in the Niger Delta. So the approval was for a variation order for the East-West Road project sections 1 to 4 from Warri to Port Harcourt, Eket, Oron, including Oron-Eket bypass in the sum of 260 billion, thereby increasing the total contract sum for the outstanding sections 1 to 4 of the East-West Road projects from the sum of formerly of 246 billion now to 506 billion. The memo was approved. Also, the Minister for Works and Housing also got approval for the award of contracts for the urgent repairs and special general maintenance of a few roads nationwide. This includes the construction of Gugaram Guri Road in Yobe State in the sum of 40 billion with a completion time of 36 months. Also got approval for the rehabilitation of the 90-kilometer Buni Gari Gulani Road, also in Yobe State, in the sum of 4 billion naira with a completion period of 36 months. And also finally, regarding urgent repairs in some of these roads.
President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed satisfaction over the inflow of investors into the mining sector since 2015. President Buhari said this at the opening ceremony of the 2022 Nigerian Mining Week that kicked off on Tuesday in Abuja. The president, who was represented by the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, maintained that his administration is getting the expected results in the mining sector since the beginning of his administration in 2015. President Buhari added that he prioritized the development of the country's mineral resources to make the economy viral with the bid to become a major global player in the international market.
This event is a very significant complement to our vision and sustained effort to accelerate the growth of the mining sector as a major contributor to Nigeria's economic diversification program. But we all know that the mining sector has always needed a transformational leap to contribute meaningfully to the envisioned economic growth of the country. Because despite the glorious contributions of the mining sector to our national economy in the past and the abundance of mineral resources found in almost every state of the Federation, the growth of the sector stagnated for many years, especially since the early 70s. And there have been very many notable contributions and efforts by previous administrations to wake the sleeping giant that is the Nigerian mining industry up. But at the beginning of our administration in 2015, we intentionally prioritized the development of the country's mineral resources as one of the frontiers for economic growth. This led to the comprehensive roadmap for the growth and development of the Nigerian mining sector, and we have steadily followed the steps, step by step, on that roadmap. So far, we can say without fear of contradiction that this administration has contributed and committed more resources to the development of the mining sector than any other government in the history of our country.
The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has promised that he will merge the efforts of his administration with those of the private sector in order to drive the affairs of the country if elected in 2023. The APC flag bearer made this promise at the just concluded Private Sector Economic Forum in Lagos State on Tuesday. While addressing key stakeholders in the private sector, the former Lagos State Governor and his running mate Kashim Shettima also set reforms which will promote productivity and uplift the economy. Our correspondent Simisola Digun tells us more in this next report.
The much-awaited interactive session between the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the private sector had in attendance major stakeholders from various sectors across the country. The event afforded the APC flag bearer and his running mate Kashim Shettima the opportunity to present the party's renewed Hope Manifesto for 2023, which entails its political and economic plans for the country and the role of the private sector in achieving them. On the economy, Tinubu says his administration will improve existing industries and sectors, adjust the revenue allocation prescription to states to foster grassroots economic development, curb importation of non-essential goods, as well as reform the tax system.
We shall bring the nation's industrial policy to life. Key to this is our aim to create major and minor industrial hubs in each of our geographical zones. We created this geographical zone artificially so that we can communicate and grow faster. from bottom up. We shall not be satisfied by bolstering traditional sectors. We will foster productive excellence in new areas such as light manufacturing and Nollywood entertainment sector through active participation in digital economy. We shall make Nigeria a leader instead of a bystander.
One of the problems of the current youth restiveness is the lack of jobs. Tinubu says his administration will ensure proper channeling of this youth energy, which subsequently will result in unprecedented boost in the quality of life of the citizenry.
Our political economy is much too dependent on the export of raw materials or unfinished goods and the import of increasingly expensive finished products. Over the course of the time, gains from natural resource exports will prove largely insufficient to meet the rising cost of imports, let alone support even the most basic demand of modern democratic governance.
The issue of insecurity in the country dominates discourse across the country as terrorism, banditry and kidnapping has heightened in all regions. The APC's vice presidential candidate, Kashim Shettima, while relaying the achievement of his principle, said his administration will adopt an intelligence-driven approach to deal with the menace of insecurity in the areas of personnel, weapons and welfare.
Underneath the mayhem of Boko Haram, of rural banditry, of kidnapping for ransom, lies the underlying cause, which is extreme poverty. Once we create jobs, once we engage the youth, this madness will evaporate.
The Lagos Advancement and Economic Program led to the 10-point agenda at that time. And in the 10-point agenda, the likes of education, health, infrastructural renewal, justice and law and order, food security, public sector reform, public transportation and traffic management, power and water resources, job creation and poverty alleviation, were the high points and the development cliché that both himself and yourselves as organized private sector created way back there in 2002, 2003.
With the 2023 presidential elections fast approaching, all three leading candidates will remain in the spotlight in the run-up to the polls. What remains to be seen is whether the decision of the electorate is still anchored around manifestos and promises. Simisola Dikun, TV360, Lagos.
And the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arrested a Kogi State House of Assembly candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, Ismaila Yusuf Atumei, with 326 million naira and 140,500 US dollars cash. In a statement, EFCC spokesperson Wilson Wujaren said Atumei, who is seeking to represent Ankpa 11 constituency in the Kogi State House of Assembly, was arrested on Sunday, October 30, 2022, alongside one Joshua Dominic, an alleged serial fraudster in a string operation at Macedonia Street, Queen's Estate, Gwarinpa, Abuja. The statement added that the arrest of the suspects followed months of investigation into the hacking of one of the commercial banks by a syndicate of fraudsters who pulled off a heist of 1.4 billion naira. The Lagos State government has assured that it is doing everything within its power to ensure the biological safety of all residents in the state. Speaking at the 8th African Conference on One Health and Biosecurity, Akin Abayomi, Lagos State Commissioner for Health, explained that there is a thin line between health security and national security. The conference had in attendance stakeholders from the health sector as well as security operatives across the Navy, Army and Customs. Our correspondent Folashade Ogurinde tells us more.
As Nigeria and many countries in the world slowly recover from the effect of COVID-19, it has become imperative to strengthen health security and mitigate biological threats in Africa. This was a thrust of the 8th African Conference on One Health and Biosecurity. While Lagos is known as the nation's commercial nerve center, it is also vulnerable to infectious diseases due to its population size. This, the State Commissioner for Health, Akin Abayomi, says has been tackled through its biosecurity roadmap.
What we plan to do is to prepare into the future for public health crises, to manage and alleviate crises when they occur, to ensure that we maintain the economy and have economic resilience, to work on our laws to make sure that we can manage the forces that are disrupting our environment, and also give us the laws that allow us to manage pandemics when they do happen, to advance the health sector, to be able and bring in the much needed private sector to support the government whenever these events happen.
The latest threat to health security may have waned, but the Commissioner urged men of the Nigeria Armed Forces to prepare ahead even before a crisis, a charge the Chief of Naval Staff promises to uphold.
There have been warnings that terrorist groups could gain access to biological agents or even deadly diseases for the purpose of manufacturing weapons of mass destruction. These possibilities underscore the need for robust surveillance and containment mechanisms capable of preventing, detecting, and responding to these threats when they do occur.
Also speaking, Ben Llewellyn-Jones, the British Deputy High Commissioner, reiterated the UK's commitment to reduce the impact of public health emergency and improve global health security in Nigeria.
It has been trying to reduce the impact of public health emergencies, improve national, regional and ultimately global health security, and try and contribute to the public health system here in Nigeria. And it intends to support the human resource and organisational development of Nigeria Centre for Disease Control. I'd also point to the excellent university-to-university links that we have, not just in Lagos State, but across Nigeria, and the importance of the exchange of personnel, but also the intellectual exchange that occurs between those institutions.
The world may have recorded significant growth in technological advancement, but the threat of biosecurity, as seen with the COVID-19 pandemic, remains a global concern. Folashade Ogurinde, TV360 News.
Well, we'll take a break now, but still to come, tensions rise as North and South Korea exchange missiles. Details of the story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Here's a recap of some of our top stories tonight. After hours of protests at the entrance gates of the Murtala Mohammed Airport 2 terminal in Lagos State, aviation workers have terminated their strike and vacated the gates for resumption of flight operations. However, in a statement on Wednesday, Francis Akinjoli, Deputy General Secretary of the Union, said the union had ended the strike following the intervention of concerned ministries and agencies after a meeting attended by the Ministry of Labour and Employment, Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, Nigeria Airspace Management Agency, and airport security agencies. We also told you that the House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts has summoned the Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed, the Director General Budget Office of the Federation Ben Akabueze, and the Acting Accountant General of the Federation Okolie Abo Silva to explain why the Office of the Auditor General for the Federation is undermined in the preparation of the budget for his office. The committee was furious that only 62 million naira has been budgeted for the AUGF's office as against 2.5 billion naira initially proposed, and questioned how the Auditor General Adolphus Agro can effectively audit government agencies with such a budget. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. As Qatar gears up to welcome more than 1.2 million people for the 2022 World Cup, health officials have warned visitors to keep their guard up as a large number of people coming together at the tournament can result in more infections. The 2022 World Cup will be one of the first major sporting events since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic that will now have limitations on crowd numbers, and all 8 stadiums will be allowed to fill to their maximum capacities. Qatari authorities dropped COVID-related travel restrictions starting on Tuesday, including mandatory pre-arrival testing, so fans traveling from abroad will no longer need to show a negative COVID-19 test before boarding their flights to Qatar. We'll take a break and return with business stories, to stay with us. Welcome back. It's time for business news and stock market review with Simisola Adigun. Simisola, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mary. Welcome to business. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, says the e-Naira has recorded 700,000 transactions valued at 8 billion naira since its inauguration on October 25, 2021. Emefiele said this on Wednesday in Abuja at the 28th edition of the APEC Bank annual in-house executive seminar. Represented by the Deputy Governor of Financial System Stability at the CBN, Emefiele described the e-Naira as a success story as it topped the charts on retail CBDC's projects globally as at April 2022. Emefiele said the e-Naira was developed to broaden the payment possibilities of Nigerians, foster digital financial inclusion with potential for fast-tracking intergovernmental and social transfers, capital flow, and remittances. We'll go on a short break here. I'll be back with Stock Market Report. After its negative start to the month of November, the Nigerian Exchange Limited has recorded its first gain of the month, rising by 1.23% 3% at the close of trading on Wednesday. The market's all-share index and market capitalization also appreciated from preceding day lows to 44,283 basis points and 24.1 trillion naira. Now, Africa's largest cement maker, Dangote Cement PLC, and leads the group of advancers. It is followed by Charms PLC, gaining a combined 240 naira 24 kobo. Wednesday's laggards are led by MRS Oil Nigeria and Trans-Nationwide Express, both losing a total of 11 naira 38 kobo. Wednesday's market performance shows that 106 investors exchanged a total of 155 million volume of shares at over 1 billion naira in 3,796 deals. Now, foreign stocks, on the other hand, fell on Wednesday as investors await announcement from the Federal Reserves. Now, you see our select global stocks therefore ended in the bear here. They all are in red. Meanwhile, investors are still waiting to hear from Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell on whether it would be realistic to expect a slowdown in the pace of rate hikes going forward. That's the stock market report. Mary, back to you.
Thank you, Simisola. On the global scene, North Korea and South Korea on Wednesday recorded a series of missile exchanges near each other's coast in a marked escalation of hostilities. North Korea had fired at least 23 missiles and a barrage of artillery shells, while South Korea replied with 3 air-to-ground missiles over the disputed maritime demarcation line. According to South Korea's military, one of the first 17 missiles flew in the direction of a South Korean island before it landed near the sea border between both countries. The development prompted South Korea to issue an aerial raid alert on the island. Well, it's time for entertainment report.
Nigerian singer Scales has shared a snippet from a diss track he recorded against his wife Precious as he continues to mourn his late mom. In the diss track he released, Scales mentioned that he never thought he would be married to, in quote, the devil. Recall that over the weekend, the rapper who lost his mother last week called out Precious for taking to her Insta stories to mourn his mom. In a deleted message, Scales asked her to pull down the post and show the same care in real life and stop doing things for the gram. His call-out post came days after he advised people to ensure they don't get married to a heartless person. Scales and Precious got married in September 2021. Reality TV star White Money has said he intends to use his new chieftaincy title to positively inspire youths in his community in Lagos State. The Big Brother Naija Season 6 winner backed a chieftaincy title as the Ugundigbo, meaning the pride of Lagos, on Saturday. Taken to Instagram on Monday, the reality star, who was elated by the title conferred on him, said youth saw him as a role model for promoting the ideals of the Igbo culture. He added he will actively engage and mentor them as much as possible. That's it on the entertainment segment of News Now.
And now in sports, in order to make world champions of World Cup bronze medalists Flamingos, given their innate talent and skills and demonstrated ability, the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development will provide maximum support and encouragement to the Nigeria Football Federation as the players graduate from one level to another. This pledge was contained in the remarks of the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, as he hosted the bronze medalists of the recently concluded 7th FIFA on the 17 Women's World Cup Finals, Flamingos of Nigeria, at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium on Tuesday. This next report has more details. Wearing broad smiles on their faces as they trooped into the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, the world's third best under 17 women's football team At the just concluded tournament in India, the Flamingos of Nigeria arrived the country and were warmly welcomed by many. Headed to the Mashood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja, the team was received by the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, the President of the Nigeria Football Federation, and other dignitaries. President of the Nigeria Football Federation, Ibrahim Gusso, introduced the team to the Minister of Youth and Sport, Sunday Dare, recalling the team's exploits during the qualifying campaign and at the final competition in India, describing the players as energetic, vibrant and promising.
Your Excellency, I want to officially present this victorious, young, vibrant and promising. And I know what they go through, and I know what we go through, and I know how they try to overcome all situations. And at the end of the day, we are here celebrating.
In his welcome address, the Minister Sunday Dare, who praised the NFF for supporting the girls, commended the World Cup bronze medalists for demonstrating their ability to make the country proud.
We want to thank you for holding up our flag. We want to thank you for displaying your talents and skills. And we want to thank you for winning the bronze for our country. It's the first of its kind in our history. And I must also commend the NFF for the preparations, for the organization, for making sure that you went through the rite of passage, the qualifiers, sending you to Turkey, and then getting you to go, and all the logistics that went with it.
In spite of the insufficient funds at our disposal, we are ready to do our best to ensure that we are mobilized to record greater successes. As young players, we must remain focused. I have noticed that a former player is now a coach. This was possible because she remained focused. I want to see some of you graduate from this level to the next level.
Given a speech, captain of the team, Alvindo Zozu, expressed appreciation to the ministry and the NFF and thanked Nigerians from all walks of life who prayed for and wished the team well in India.
We had it at the back of our mind that we're not coming back home without a medal. Well, I would like to say to the younger ones coming up that they should work hard because hard work pays and they should never give up.
While we are qualifying for the quarterfinal, we said we are not ready to go back home. So there is a slogan for every stages that we play at the World Cup. So we plan for big, and then thank God for what God has given to us. It's a remarkable achievement. We thank God for that.
A dummy check of the sum of 3 million naira promised the team by Super Eagles captain Ahmed Musa was presented to the players and officials at the airport. Chairman of the NFF Task Force on Youth Competitions, Aminu Balele Karfi, also promised the team the sum of $10,000. Mary Kanu, TV360, Nigeria. Well, on that note, we call it a wrap on the news this evening. Many thanks for watching. I am Mary Kanu.